I'm Lydia, and today we're going to talk about being triggered by a spouse. Are you triggered by a spouse? Hang on, don't do it. Don't tell them it's all their fault. I'll tell you why. Hang on just a minute. Hey, I'm Lydia. I used to be an ordinary stay-at-home mom and wife. We had 2 kids, and for 3 years, everything was perfect until we got pregnant again. But this time with quadruplets. There was so much stress going from a family of 4 to a family of 8 overnight, so I created a system for renewing our relationships. This channel is dedicated to sharing that system, every single part of it. I love teaching how to connect, manage emotions, and turn it all into growing together times. You're going to find all that information right here. All right, hi. Today we're talking about being triggered by a spouse. Are you triggered? Are you like, it's all their fault? This is so common. All of my clients, all of them, have something like this, where it's the spouse's fault. It's his fault that life isn't great and happy, whatever it is. I have a story to tell you. So, I gotta choose which story. There's so many stories. First, I'm gonna tell you about some older clients. Okay, they're more elderly. They're not in their 20s. They've had a lot more experience in life. And this is what happens when the husband found out that the wife was on some depression medication. It had been kept a secret. Don't keep secrets. Don't keep secrets like that. It's important to have that support around you. Your spouse wants to support and love you in so many ways. And if you don't let them know, they can't do it. And when you say it's their fault, oh my goodness, it's so painful. It's so hard to watch. So in this particular couple, he finds out after years that she's been having this medication. And she says, well, it's your fault that I have to do this because you make me so unhappy. So what happens then? He gets all hurt inside. He is so hurt. He had no idea he has no idea what he did. He had no idea that he was doing anything. And I promise you, most of the time, they don't know. They're not trying to hurt you. They're not trying. They want to love and help you. They want that connection just as much as you do, but they don't know how. And they don't know that anything wrong is happening. They just don't know it. So he goes around walking on eggshells, all careful, and like, oh no, if I do something, it's gonna hurt my wife. If I do anything, it's going to hurt her. And that's not building a good connected relationship. That is more distance. They're still living together. They still like each other and hope to be connected, but they have this giant growing chasm and they're not working with me. So it's not getting fixed. But I've watched this. It's growing. This is what happens when you don't get help. And he's full of shame, confusion, all sorts of negative guilt. Oh, it's so sad that he's taken on this identity that he is the cause of all the problems in the world, not just for his wife, but in the world. So it's affecting how he works. It's affecting everything. Okay, then we have another couple, and she has been triggered. She's got some trauma from growing up, right? We all have some trauma growing up. We have stuff. We just have stuff in our history, right? And so she has found what triggers it is her husband saying something that was similar to her parents telling her something when she was a kid. It's not her husband. It's her past trauma. It's not your spouse that's triggering you. It's that past trauma that hasn't been healed yet. It's the past. Let it be in the past. In this moment, when it's you and your spouse, and you see this trigger going, oh no, I feel that again, is taking you back to where that pain originated. where the source was. And this is now. It's not that. It's a new person. It's a new situation. And it's just helping you remember that you need to heal that. You really do. You need to heal that. But the first thing we want to do is not attack the person who's triggering you. It's not their fault. They don't know. They have no idea what's going on in your head or what's going on in your past. And they don't know. They have their own story that they've got to work through and deal with. And everybody's trying their best. Really, really, everyone is trying their best with all the resources that they have. So when you see that happening, that is bringing up some past experience and is bringing it up and you're attaching it to the now instead of leaving it there, I want you to visualize and remember this is a different person. That's your pain and this is your love. That's your pain. Leave it be. Don't attach your pain to your love. So you just can visualize him as a wonderful person that he is, that he loves you. He wants the best for you. He wants that connection just as much as you do. And don't blame him. That's all. All you got to do is say, okay, this is happening and it's not his fault. He's not really a part of that past trauma. He's just here and now in your remembering that you still need to heal. Okay, it doesn't have anything at all to do with him. It is not his fault. And if it happens the other way when you trigger him, because that can happen too, same situation, it's tied to the past. It's not the here and now. And you don't want to be blamed for all of his unhappiness, for his not being able to get a promotion at work because he's worried about you instead, or whatever kind of mess we can create with our imagination. Just leave it in the past. I say, okay, this is my love, my spouse, and we want to love and connect with each other. We both want it. And nobody wants that past trauma, gross, yucky. We want to leave that away. And so all you got to do is make that distinction in your subconscious consciously. So when you consciously think about it and you go, this is happening, you consciously can create a subconscious break in that pattern. When you just simply say, this is not that. This is something different. All you got to do is differentiate it. And every time that we have that recurring thought, and this is why it's so hard, because those neural pathways get walked on over and over and over and over and over and over again. And every time that you walk on that path, it makes that path a little more distinct, a little bit easier to find through the forest, right? And that neural pathway becomes the natural way because it's so ingrained, it's so walked on. It's a very clear, easy path to follow. All you got to do is take a step in a different direction. If you take that step in a different direction often enough, you create a new path. When you start seeing that you're going down this way, you take a step the other way. And pretty soon, you're going to be able to find this path easier, more often, and keep going that other direction. And then that other path will get covered up by the weeds or whatever happens over there when you're neglecting that thought. Because what we focus on grows. What we feed grows. And all we got to do is stop feeding it. I know it sounds so easy, and it really is. Once you make that decision, you recognize that you want a different path, and you commit to yourself that you are worth it, and this relationship is worth it. And you're going to take this different path often enough that that other one gets forgotten, gets covered up. You can remove it. There's all sorts of different techniques you can do with that old path. But the important thing is to make a new path. If you don't have a new path to go on, or you're just standing there not going anywhere, and that's not a way to build connection either. You got to consciously decide that you're going to create a new neural pathway for your subconscious to follow. And you might have to remind your subconscious that it's safe and it is what you want. And it's okay to take this different direction that's unfamiliar, and it's okay. You got to remind your subconscious sometimes that you're in charge, because sometimes we forget who's in charge. We let our body take control of us and our emotions take over instead of being consciously in charge. Your mind and your brain control your body. Unless you're not telling it what to do. If you're not telling your subconscious what to do, it does whatever it wants. It does whatever kind of path you've established already. But you can't actually stand up and take a step and go somewhere and get a drink unless you decide you're thirsty and you're going to go get a drink. You control your body by your thoughts and your mind. And I'll venture out to say your spirit too. Your soul is in charge of your body. Remember that you are in charge and you're worth it. All right. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.